Kia ora tātou. Hope the week's going well. Welcome to the second Filament Fast Five book review. The idea of this is to provide a useful shortcut to the good stuff in useful books that can help you in your business and career. The book I'm delighted to share with you this week is a real cracker. It's Essentialism, the pursuit or the disciplined pursuit of less. And that's by UK-US author Greg McKeown. It's a great little book full of useful insights based on the premise that life today is so complex and there are so many demands pulling us in all different directions, from people, from projects, from plans, that it's very easy to lose control of your agenda and understand what you need to focus on. And the basic premise of the book is when we don't purposefully choose how to manage our focus, our time, our energy, then others will just do it for us. I think it's probably something we can all relate to. There's plenty of people there who will shape our days and our weeks for us. So the 5 really useful things I got from the book, not exhaustive, but 5 nonetheless. First of all, Greg talks about this idea of the sunk cost fallacy. You might be thinking, well, what's the sunk cost fallacy? It's all a bit elaborate. It's simply this human bias where we tend, once we've committed to something, to really feel like we have to see it through. And what Greg argues in the book is that a lot of the time we would be better off calling it, cutting our losses, and moving our focus and our energy and our time to something else. And I think we can probably all recognize this behavior in ourselves. I certainly do. Second point is this lovely idea of protecting the asset. You are your best asset. My late mother always used to say, Murray, if you haven't got your health, you haven't got anything. And she was damn right. You've got to protect that asset. That's about sleep. That's about lifestyle choices you're making, about health choices, diet, alcohol. A CEO once told me he operated quite ruthlessly the 10:30 rule. Didn't matter where he was, whether it was a client with his agency, whether it was a function, he was out by 10:30, asleep by 11. Protect the asset. Third point was this lovely idea of taking the time and space every week and at moments to actually discern the vital few from the trivial many. It's amazing how much noise there is out there. And that's a really critical principle. It's really difficult to implement, but if you can get into that habit and add that filter to the way that you operate, you'll begin to be way more productive. Fourth principle was doing the most difficult thing first on your agenda each day. We tend to practice avoidance as human beings. So if there's a difficult conversation, a difficult piece of communication, or that could be with a client or with a customer or with an employee, we like to defer these things. The trick is to try and get those wins under your belt and it'll put a bit of a spring in your step for the rest of the day. Also, finally, the 5th principle was the power of the graceful no. So we like as human beings to really people please. We want to be that person that says yes, that people can rely on, they can throw the ball to, we'll catch it, we'll run with it. But what that does turn us into is, in extremes, is people pleasing, and that's a very bad habit to fall into. So Greg suggests that we really learn the art of the slow yes and the quick no. So if you're struggling to cope with managing your own agenda and your New Year's resolutions to do things differently, to operate differently, feel like they've fallen by the wayside now that we're heading into late March and Easter is almost upon us, then Essentialism is a cracking read, very practical, bite-sized, you can dip in and out of it, very clearly themed. And I'd love to know if you've read it, what you thought of it. And if anyone would like to get a copy, let me know, and you can borrow mine. Sorry, there's a coffee stain on it, but that's a demonstration that I've actually read it. But anyway, hope the week's going well, and matewa.